Hello and good evening. Good evening to everybody on West Ham Network. To my left is Kieran, and to his left, obviously, Luke. Good evening, gents. How are you both?
Evening.
Evening, Luke. How you doing, bro? How's the bubby?
Yeah, she's good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's growing up too quick. So yeah, it's a mad old life, the old dad life, but it's I wouldn't change it for the world. You know what I mean? So.
No, I do know. Yeah, we all know that. It's quite amazing, isn't it, when you've got a little nipper in the house?
Mental, a good mental.
Yeah. So, how was your Christmas? I mean, I suppose it must have been manic with little Ivy in the house.
Well, it's expensive. That's one thing we'll say about it. You know, I've also got steps on as well, who's sort of pre-teen now, so he's a bit easier to buy for, but it's still, you know, you got to try and match up what they want. And, yeah, I suppose like everyone else, you eat and drink too much, and you know, at this point, I wasn't looking forward to West Ham games, so that was a bit harder as well to watch. You know, the old City and whatever else, and yeah, it's getting better now. But it was at the time, it was too much food, too much drink, a bit too much West Ham at that point as well. And yeah, but no, Christmas was nice. New Year was
I get that, which brings us really nicely to the case in point for tonight's show. Graham Potter, wizard or firefighter? This is what we're talking about tonight. But before we do, let's just quickly see who's in the chat. Howard, that was at 12:38 this afternoon. So good morning, good evening to you, Howard. Mark, I know he's back in the house. He says good evening. Great to get 3 points and a coherent performance. James Bong, top of the evening to you, gentlemen. Right, who else? Oh, hang on, where did that go? It went all the way down to the bottom for some reason. Randy, good evening to you, sir. Budgie and Kieran, hope you're both well. We are seeing that Potter is managing to get a tune with the good coaching, and he's doing well with the tools he's got. Just imagine when he gets the key players back. Absolutely, really good point. We will get on to Mr. Potter in a minute. Who else have we got in the house? Mark's back, as I said. Brendan, Tara, good evening to you, sir.
Brendan.
Who else we got? Yeah, nice one, Mark. Spurs are still below us. They are indeed. Zach's in house. Good evening, Zach. He knows we don't claim Ange anymore. All right, Zach, nicely put. I like that. Usual, good evening, Usual. How are you, sir? Will Budgie be wearing his I Love Potter t-shirt? No, not this week, mate. Not this week. I ain't got one made up yet. Mr. Lamprew, James, good evening to you, sir. Morning from Kieran, obviously. Howard's back, like I said he would be. Kimmy's in the house. Hi, Budge. Much love. Hi, Kimmy. Loads back. Mr. Striblin. Good evening, Duke. You have got the link, mate. So if you want to come in, please do. Stuart's in the house. Who else have we got? That's about it. That's everybody so far that has commented. Oh no, there's Daz. Good evening. Hi, Budge. How are you feeling? You was a bit tipsy the other day. Yes, I was absolutely storming drunk. It was really quite funny, actually. And Steve Tyler's in the house. Good evening, Mr. Hargreaves, Mr. Dahaya. We didn't want to know that, Duke. He says, I'm well, Randy. Hope you are too. No, I'm not, actually, mate. You know, I'm trying to be professional here, bro. I knew what you meant. JBK9, good evening. Spurs lost. Thank you very much for letting me know. GP, good evening, sir. Best show on the
GP
network.
Graham Potter? Has he been masquerading as GP all these years? We have
well, that's what I said to him last week on the show I did with Tony from Early Doors. And I said to him, you know, I want to thank you for, you know, agreeing to take the job and that.
He should be saying that to him, Barber Striker with it.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, save your money, GP. Put it towards somebody's wages, bud. Thank you, though. Really appreciate it. And he did say, you know, sod Russ and Anton. So I think that's sort of really, you know. Who else have we got here?
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah, you fucking carry on still. You do our show when we're doing it. Yeah, right.
What's that?
Nothing.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Still doing the show. Good evening, Tony. Evening, Budgie, Luke. And good morning to you, Kieran. Anyone else? Right, okay. That's everybody so far. We'll do that, and then I will come back to the comments in a bit. Right, so Graham Potter, guys. You know, how are you feeling so far? I mean, like Kieran and I have had a chat already on this subject, and clearly you haven't said your part yet, Luke. So I'd like to hear what you're thinking of, you know, current status with Mr. Potter in charge.
Right. Well, I've been on for a little while, so it's good to be back on with the network. Yeah, it's interesting times. I've been writing a couple of articles on the West Ham network Facebook page and stuff. So if you want to take a look at them, they're available to look at. But this was before the latest game, so I haven't done anything right up. It's already been out since the game. But I think I was like a lot of other people when he was linked. First of all, I thought underwhelmed. Basically, it's another out of work manager who's sort of being handpicked by a board member, out of work, desperate, cheap, basically. But there was the kind of best of a bad bunch tagline, because we know that he probably would at least try to play better football than maybe a Lopetegui or a defensive manager would do. So I'll give any manager a chance. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to, you know, right off the bat, unless there's a certain type of person you wait before it gets going. Give anyone a chance, and I think he's probably. This is when I don't know if anyone agrees with me, but we're a bit uneducated where other teams are concerned, because I wouldn't have thought that, given the injuries we've sustained since Liverpool and Bowen and then the other night against Aston Villa, what he'd done last night was really impressive. Like it's quite an underrated win. People don't think we realise how good it was to win last night the way we did, because to have basically no forward players available that we normally rely on,
especially with the form that Fulham have been in.
Exactly. And people can say we got lucky, but if you watch the games back, West Ham don't normally press a team into making mistakes, and that's what we did yesterday. Because the first goal was the perfect pressing. Like, you can press too much in games and get caught out and get done on a counter attack or whatever. We counter attacked. We pressed perfectly last night, and that got us 2 goals. And I just think that I couldn't make sense of the team that he put out. I was confused for a good 45 minutes before the game started. I was still confused even when the game was going on. But what he managed to do, getting us to play some decent football when we had the ball, create chances, openings, press, wasn't great for the first 20, 25 minutes. Whatever, it was a bit dodgy. They could have scored a goal themselves. But overall, he's impressed me a lot more than I thought he would. Not just because of the football, but the way he's handling the situation that he's in. He's saying the right things. He is playing the youth, and yeah, at the minute, I'm more than happy. I'm not going to jump in both feet and go, he's the best thing since sliced bread, give him a 10-year contract. We're going to win everything under him. But for the task he's got at hand, and the fact that he's been there less than a week still now, is mental. So fair play, Graham Potter. I think he's been brilliant.
Yeah. What about you, Cieran? I mean, what about your thoughts on last night's game?
Look, I think if you go back to the cup game, he actually gave us a bit of hope even in that, especially the first 45 minutes. And you think, and with his interviews, I can actually, I couldn't understand a thing Lopetegui said. And every time he did it with word salad, it told you nothing. And he's saying, like you said, look, he's saying all the right things. I thought it was a big improvement until the 2 injuries in that FA Cup game. And I think that cost us in the end, Yeah. Plus, we're playing a far better team. And they really did cost us. Somerville was working well on that right. I didn't expect him to put him there. What are you doing there, sir? And he had a fucking cracker of the first half. So that was good. So going up to this game, I think I predicted a draw for it. I thought we could get a point out of them. Because they've had a lot of draws for them this year where maybe should have won. So I was sort of confident getting a point. But Jesus, when was the fucking last time we scored 3 goals? Even if we forced them 2 mistakes that they gave us, right? And I really liked how we worked, when to press, when not to press. You can't do it all the time. You do it all the time, your players run out of gas by the fucking hour mark. You're wasting, and you can get caught out by pressing all the time. It gives them chances to beat the press and attack you. So I thought it was good, and it was hopeful, and it was I enjoyed the game, man. And I can't remember the last time I said that I really, enjoyed watching West Ham, and that's not just Lopetegui. That's going back to Moyes as well. It was bloody hard to watch a game and enjoy, win or lose. So I enjoyed it. So that's a bonus, and not only that. I think true managers are tested when the backs are against a wall, when you're missing player after player after player. Even Antonio now probably would have played in that game if it'd been, weren't smashed up. Right? We had no Antonio, you got no Bowen, you got no bloody full crew. You're missing Tadibo, so you're limited what your backs can be. It was a good effort, man. There was a lot of players missing, yeah. We dug out a win, and I'm delighted for it. But again, I didn't start slagging Lopetegui off to the 10th game in. I said I'll give him 10 games, right? And I won't judge him. And it's the same here. I ain't getting carried away with this. We've done well with a limited squad, really well. And Potter impresses me, and I'm fucking delighted. And it's given the fans hope. I thought in the stadium he felt it a bit more. People had hope in there. They're a bit more vocal. It was, and on fan channels, everyone's got a lift just from him coming in, and even that's worth it. So, but I won't. I'd rather give him the rest of the season and judge him then. But at the moment, nothing but positives for me. I think it's been really good.
Yeah, good. I mirror that myself. Listen, everybody, thank you so much for wishing me happy birthday. But it's in 2 days. It's on Friday, so. But yeah, this is the last time you'll see me before. Yeah,
Oh,
on
you.
birthday, so I'll be 63 now this year.
Don't look it, mate. Don't look it.
You know.
Oh, I am. What was I going to say? Yeah, so here's one of the comments I started. Randy, apologise, mate. I did see it earlier and I started earlier, but I've gone well past it, so I've come back to it again. What are our expectations for Potter, guys, for him to be successful? I'll go first. I think for me, for Potter to be successful, bearing in mind that he's come in more than halfway through the season with a lot of expectation from the fans and from the board. I think for Potter to be successful would be for us to finish 12th or better. For me, I think win a few games, get draws where we're not expected to, win the games from the teams around us, and maybe nick a few points off of the teams above us. That's what I'd like to see. Whether that's going to come to fruition or not is another matter, but that's, I think, realistic. What about you, Kieran?
I don't really have any. The league position isn't a big thing for me. I mean, if he could get you to 8th and somehow that European thing works out, we're in the Conference League, fucking happy days. I mean, that could happen. It's a possibility. I think it's a slim possibility. The question is, my expectations is to start enjoying watching it again. Because I really was fucking giving up hope there watching West Ham for a while.
Yeah.
And that's all I want. I want to watch it and enjoy it. And wherever we finish in the league, we're not getting relegated. I don't believe that's an issue. I don't think it ever was. Even though you don't want to be down there. But I think if he carries on, and no one's going to knock him at the moment, with the squad we've got, with the players that are injured, it's big. I mean, you see other teams suffering at the moment with this, and Tottenham especially. I mean, my God, they're really getting it. And there's a few teams suffering. So yeah. I think he's got a bit of a free run with that, because of that situation. This isn't his team. Half of them are fucking missing. And he's had a great start, I think. So my expectation is to start enjoying it a bit more, and I think I will, because even in the Fulham game, my God, even Souček, and I am a fan of Souček, right? It's as simple as that. His passing was fantastic in some of that game. His passing improved. His link-up play improved. He was my man of the match, Souček, even though you could not name probably 2 or 3 of them as man of the match. But I would have given it to him. I thought he was superb. And he got in and got himself a goal as well. So I think he recognises what he's got. Again, we still got to tie him up at the back, because I said this a long while ago. We need to score 3 goals to win a fucking game. And yet again, in this, that's what we had to do. Because even when we were 2-0 up, my first thoughts were, geez, we could get a draw out of this. You get that pessimistic negative from what we've seen in recent weeks and months and maybe a year. And so I'm just that. My expectations are to just enjoy it again. We do all right if he really does well and he gets players back. We bring in a couple. Maybe 8th is a possibility, outside possibility.
Happy birthday to Sean Freshfielder tomorrow.
Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday, mate. Duke is on his way in, and as I say it, there he is. There he is. Happy New Year to you, sir.
And are you lovely people?
Here he is. Hello, mate.
How we doing?
Jokey.
Yeah.
God, we've disappeared up to the roof there, guys.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. I don't even know how to make these bigger. I have no idea how to do it. I have no idea.
Sure there's a joke in there somewhere, but we're not doing it.
Yeah, no.
I have no idea how to do
this. This is all right. This is like we're in our own little bubble. So there's worse things to look like.
Jukey, before we go any further, we had a comment a couple of minutes ago. I don't know if you saw it. What are our expectations for Potter this season? For him to be successful this season? We're talking, till the end of the season.
Listen, it's been banded around pretty much all the channels, really. I go down in the morning, I do my cleaning, and I have every single channel on, video after video after video. So I listen to everything that's said. And I'm in agreement with, I'd say, 90% of the channels. This is now an 8-month pre-season for Graham Potter, as far as I'm concerned. There's no pressure on him. We're not going down, right? If we can get top half, if we can get top 10, I'll be over the moon with that. If we can get any closer to those European places, which could go down to 8th this season for another conference run next season, certainly not going to be upset with that. But for where I sit and where I'm looking at it, this is an 8-month pre-season. I don't think he's under any pressure. He's got a 2.5-year contract he desired. There's a good chance in July that Ashworth or is it Macaulay come in the summer, which then we start to rebuild what it is that should be a scouting department that is pretty much just 3 blokes looking through Football Manager on a Wednesday afternoon. So for me, I wouldn't say it's an expectation. It's an if we can, I'll be happy. If we can go higher, I'll be happier. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Some of your speech was crackling, not crackling, but cutting out. But I got 99% of what you were saying.
I'll tell you what we'll do if it helps, because it might not, but I don't know.
It is a bit like you're talking underwater, but I did understand everything you said.
Yeah, me too.
That might be better.
That's it. Perfect.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's the Duke we all know. Not the one from Finding Nemo. Oh, great. Right, so I think this kind of says it all for everybody. Buzzing now with a win, team unity and spirit above the Spuds and the Manx for now. Doesn't get much better. I kind of, I agree with that, because a win always does make you feel better, especially in front of the home crowd. And it's his first one at home. Quite an important game against an informed team. I think it was an impressive win, but maybe the performance could have been tweaked here and there. But the players that came on, the players that started, everybody put in a shift. I thought it was a decent game. I'm going to ask you all individually. Cieran, we'll start with you. Who was your man of the match?
I've already mentioned it. I thought he was Socek. I thought he was superb, mate. He done the best passing game I've ever seen him do. He was involved in the middle. His link-up play was really good. He got on the end of one to score, man. That's what he does. And he had the captain's armband. And for me, he should have been the captain when we swapped over. It was never going to be, because a lot of people were on his case at the time. And, he's had bad games, and sometimes I think under Moyes he overplayed him and fatigue set in. But I think he's one of them 100% players that I love at West Ham, and it always will be. We gave credit to these players all over the years, back to Jeff Pikes and John McDowell's and all that. They weren't the best players in the world, but their effort rate was fucking unbelievable. Billy Bonds is one of them that always led the way at West Ham. I think Socek's effort is unquestionable, as is Sofal when he goes on. Might not be the best right back in the world, but my God, you all got credit for his effort. And one thing impressed me about the Fulham game was that all players in that team were given their all. That was really a hard-working performance from every player on that pitch. Couldn't knock any of them. And when we were really bad against Moyes, I always said that you can't win games when you've got 4 or 5 players off the pace. right? And we had that many times. Many times you could pick them out. They weren't making that effort. In that, Potter's already got all them players on board. And that's impressive because they worked their nuts off for that. Paqueta especially. His work rate is fucking unbelievable.
Did you see Souček's post-match interview?
I did. That was another. It was a bit listening to Duke. I couldn't understand much of it, but yeah, he got a funny way of speaking.
I thought it sounded like you didn't want to fucking stop talking. Anyway, what about you, Luke? Who was your man of the match yesterday?
I was going to, now Kieran's mentioned Souček, I just want to, I put this into, I don't know if it's a chat I raised ages ago. And I'm just wondering, because I'm not the biggest fan of Souček as a technical player. I'm going to be honest with you here. Right?
He's not a technical player. Look, I agree with that.
But as a blood and guts goal scorer, you know, bulldozer, you don't get much better at the club. But do you think he's in the wrong generation of West Ham? Because I think if he was in the 90s, or if he was in a 2000s generation, or maybe even just before we left Upton Park, for example, he would be the perfect cult hero kind of. Because he's you know, I think the problem with Souček is that when he came into West Ham and Moyes brought him in, we started doing really well. We qualified for Europe almost straight away, stuff like that. It was like the technical ability of the team was one of the best we've seen in the last, I don't know, 20 years, because we were scoring goals, we were in good form, load of technically good players, not many sort of blood and guts players, but he was the one there. But I think if he'd have played in an era, you know, we had a lot of seasons West Ham, we were fighting relegation, or we were mid-table, playing a good bit of football here and there, but we were never really trying to get Europe or anything like that. But if he was one of those players there, I think, you know, the Scott Parker era, maybe a bit.
I think. Look, I might be looking at it through them eyes.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, you might be right. That could be a great point. That he is in the wrong era. But you're right. In my era, he's a cult hero. You know, it's as simple as that.
I kind of agree, and I think also you mentioned something quite important then, Luke, where you said maybe right up until like the end of the bowling era. Upton Park era. I think, you know, and I know people criticised us for using the phrase, but I think the West Ham way was lost when we left Upton Park. And I think, well, a big chunk of it, certainly. And I think a part of that was revering the blood and guts players, you know, and absolutely, you know, godlike, you know, praise for the technical and stylish players, you know, the likes of Di Canio and, you know, Payet. Lanzi needs to some, high degree, in my opinion. You know, but anyway, so man of the match, who are you going for then, Luke?
I genuinely can't pick one, because there's about at least 5 players last night that played out of this, including players that have played out of position, including Paqueta, because Paqueta's never played for us up front in that number 9 role, the target man, and he got man of the match last night. I don't think he probably was.
Would you credit that to Graham Potter?
Yeah, you have to. The manager's put the players out, just giving the instructions, and they've done them well. So he's obviously having an effect on them. I think if I had to pick one, me personally, would be Soler. I think Soler had his best game for his first goal. I think he was unlucky to come off when he came off. I think he came off a bit early, for my opinion. But I'm not going to flag off the manager that's got us a win and made tactical changes, because to bring Kudusov took balls, in my opinion. I don't see many.
I said exactly that.
Doing it that early, especially for who he brought on, and then obviously went and got proved right. So I can't pick a man of the match. If it had to be for me personally, it would be Soler. But that would that would be just for me my pick, top of my head.
Yeah. I think with the man, like you said, look, I think there's 4 or 5 could be considered, right? And it's as simple as that, because everyone put the effort in. You know, it really did. It was great to see.
Joke?
Right, before I hit that, I want to just, Luke, if I may, how old are you?
I'm 33, mate. Do I look it? I don't know.
No, I was about to say you're on the cusp of what I'm about to talk about, right? So you mentioned Souček there. Now, anyone probably your age and below are kind of compared to the three of us. You're kind of blessed with, you said it yourself, kind of that tactical generation or gifted generation, talent and skill and everything else that goes with it. I grew up, and the same with the two boys there, with what was blood, guts, and thunder football. The players that I revered weren't necessarily technically gifted. I mean, I'm talking about Julian Dix. I'm talking about Steve Lomas, John Moncur. They're the guys that I looked up to because when they walked out onto the pitch, they gave it their all.
Yeah.
They left everything out there on the pitch. And Souček for me is a throwback to that. And this is why I think when you look at a generation of probably maybe under yourself, if you get what I mean, that look at stats that throw up the he made one progressive pass, chap, I don't care, because it ain't about that for me. It's all of that. It does. He bleeds for the club. He has bled for the club. That guy's got as many scars on his face as goal involvements. I mean, from what I saw, he's got 40 goal involvements, which puts him at number 10 on our Premier League goal involvements chart, which I didn't expect from him.
Just quickly, that he does score goals, but for some reason he seems to know when I put a bet on him to score because he never scores in the games that I
He never does it.
So that's typical of my luck. But anyway, carry on, mate. Sorry I interrupted you.
Yeah, no,
You should bet every game, bro.
Yeah, maybe.
That's just where I'm at. I mean, that's how I see Souček. I saw a lot of. It's not hate because we're all entitled to our opinions, you know.
No, I think there has been a lot of hate, though, Duke. I think there was a lot of hate on his way.
No, it's
I didn't
not
agree
hate.
with it.
I think but then it's the same as me with Ben Rama. I mean, I had run-ins with people over Benny, and I wasn't his biggest fan, but that's just my opinion, you know. But I mean, that's just the way it is. I wouldn't say it's hate, but there's a lot of criticism towards Souček. But sometimes, all right, it dependent on what you're looking for in a player. And this is where I come back to a generational thing. Some of it's valid as criticism, some of it isn't, depending on what it is that you're looking for. Yeah. But to answer your question, Budge, I actually went with Paqueta last night. As someone put in the chat a minute ago, he had his Samba back. He had an absolute running battle with Robinson down that wing last night. The pair of them. I tell you what, it reminded me of it was like a proper battle, an old school battle, if you want, between. Although he's not a winger, it reminded me of like the old school wingers taking on their defenders and the defenders giving it some back. And I really enjoyed that part of the game last night. Was them two kicking 10 buckets of shit out of each other. Paqueta rolling around like he'd been shot. Robinson just getting up and going, get on with it, you tit, let's go. But they just kept going at each other, and I really enjoyed it. But for me, he was my man of the match. It just seemed like he galvanised and buoyed everyone else around him to want to step up and go again.
Well, all three of them are all really good shouts, and all three of them deserve man of the match. For me, I think it was the most improved player at West Ham since we've got him. I went for Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
I knew you were going to say it. I don't know why. I knew you were going to say it, but I have no idea why.
I thought he had a cracking game again. Yeah, he's had one or two blunders here and there, but
it was all right.
But I thought, I just thought he was, you know,
I can't knock any player on their butts. Right, no. He had a good game. I mean, I not a player on there I could knock.
Fabianski had a bloody good game, to be fair. You know,
I'll tell you what. Now, I worked. You know, the teams I play for. I really worked with a lot of goalkeepers being at the back and what they do and what they don't. And the two crosses that came in, man, it's an impossible situation for a goalkeeper if his centre half doesn't deal with it, right?
Yeah.
If it's allowed to go, he cannot commit to anything. He has to wait for the touch. And each time he waited, and both times they didn't get the touch. If they get the touch, he probably saved one of them, right? Yeah. But they didn't. And he just can't. He has to wait. And it went through him, and it was unlucky. But I think I've not seen anyone mention on any of the other channels when he came out for that through ball, when he had Emerson and the Fulham player coming in to crash into him. How brave was that, man? He dived straight down at the feet. I thought he was going to be badly hurt there by Emerson more than anything. Yeah. When he's coming in with his knees, I thought he was going to take his head off, and that'll be him gone for a while. But fucking brave as fuck, and he made a cracking save near the end there when we were under the pump as well with the one hand. Brilliant. So no, I'm not knocking Fabianski for any of them goals. He had a good one.
I will say there, Kieran, you said about those 2 goals that they scored, and the second one. The second one's lifted, floated over the top of the 2 centre-backs. Like you say, Wilson's coming across the ball. He's anticipated the touch. And if I believe, if he gets the touch on that, Fabianski saves that. He's just done by the lack of connection. The first one, I put the full blame on Mavropanos. As a defender that I used to be, as a centre-back, I was always taught, clear the danger. Get rid, regardless of, it's got to get it out. Doesn't matter. And he didn't. There was no call from Fabianski because obviously Fabianski can see what's in front of him. He can see Jimenez is there. So we didn't call for that. And there's absolutely no reason for Mavropanos to leave that. He's just got to clear it. He's just got to stick his head on it and get rid, regardless. So, like you, I don't blame Fabianski for either of the goals. But the first one, I lay the full blame at the feet of Mavropanos.
But we're always going to get, we're always going to have mistakes. Well, we know Mavropanos hasn't covered himself in glory for a while. I'm hoping it gets better. Even Kilman, myself, I think he's a decent centre half. Do I believe he's a £40 million centre half? No, I don't. But he's a decent centre half, and I don't believe. I think you can have 2 decent centre halves if they've got a pairing. If they work as a pairing, you've got 2 fucking great centre halves. I think Forrest is showing that at the moment with the 2 boys that they've got there. Was it Murillo and Yankovic, whatever his name is? As a pairing, they work well, man, really well. They ain't the 2 best centre halves in the league, but my God, as a pairing, they work well. And it is a pairing situation in a team. They've got to work together. Well, I don't think they do at the moment. So whether Tadibo and Kilman work better, we'll have to see more of that, but we'll see.
I just want to comment on this. Thank you. Wolfgang Division, that's Simon. He's actually a Chelsea content creator.
A Wolfgang.
Yeah, Wolfie or Simon, thank you for becoming a member of West Ham Network.
Yeah, there's a lot of members in that chat, mate, I'll tell you. Fucking members.
Nutters.
There's one on the screen with us.
Yeah, there's a couple here too.
Oh, nice one. And as Randy says, congrats, Wolfie.
Can I put a question to you guys, if I may?
Go on.
Going back to what Kieran said there, he says about the fact that he believes he's a good centre half. Kilman doesn't believe he's worth 40 million quid. I want to put back to you three, and I just want to hear your opinions on it. He wasn't a £40 million centre back in Lopetegui's setup, right? And that's how I look at this. In the same way that I don't think Cucurella at Chelsea has been a £50 million left back, but under Potter, for what Cucurella was to his Brighton side, yes, he was worth the 50 million quid all day long, and probably then some. Moving to a different side and going into a different setup, obviously, then makes him not a 50 million player. The best example I've got of that would be Andy Carroll at Newcastle. They made him what he was, playing the way he was, Liverpool buy him, expect him to be Torres and play like Torres and absolutely ruin the investment that they've made. Do you think under Potter, Kilman will show the class that he's good, that I believe he has anyway, and become that £40 million player, the way he brings the ball out, how comfortable he is on the ball? Will he show the qualities that he has, that I believe he has anyway, to become that, to justify that price tag?
I actually think at times this is the problem. I think that for a team like us, when we spend 40 million, it's normally on a striker. So when we spend 40 million on a defender, suddenly we're like, right, well, this defender's got to do a Swiss Army defender. He's got to, defend, play forwards, maybe score the odd goal, something like that. I think he played. I think, to be honest with you, this is what I find quite interesting, because this has never happened under West Ham very often. Under Lopetegui, we tended to switch our centre backs quite often during games. So one half would be Mavropanos, then it'd be Todibo. But Kilman would always be the mainstay. I think that we don't really realise how much it affects a player when, like, a centre back partnership is quite concrete. To keep changing that during a game and expecting there to both perform throughout the throughout the game at a consistent level is really tough. So you've got a guy there who's first of all got pressure on him because of the price tag. And then you're going, like, by the way, for the 90 minutes short, you're not going to have the same partner next to you. It's going to be switched up, and you're not going to play a good system for you anyway. So I think he's been a bit hamstrung since he got to the club. I think he's been told, right, you're the main centre back here, but you're not going to have a stable partnership next to you. I think that's tough to deal with. I think under Potter, he might have more stability with him, because he also might be given play in the system that benefits him, because if he's got a technical ability and we've got a manager that likes to propel that technical ability throughout the team, and it could be a good thing. I think he's had good performances. I think he's had bad performances. I think he's had alright performances. I think maybe the price tag it's a bit like when we signed. I don't know if you remember. I think you made the point about Andy Carroll there, Duke. When we signed Haller, so Haller was like one of 3 forward players. He was like the one that set up the 2 forwards. Yet we signed him and used him as a lone striker and expected him to do exactly the same thing. So we do get it wrong sometimes, and possibly Lopetegui's gone, right, I want that man for £40 million. We've gone, right, do you know what? If you really want him, we'll give you him. And it just happens to be that he maybe doesn't suit West Ham, especially now Lopetegui's gone. It might not be the player that we need, but for what I'd like to see him have a stable partnership. I think if Todibo was fit, we might have seen a bit better from him even then, because he could have a player that could stay and he can go forward and do the passes and all sorts of stuff like that. I like him. I think I just feel he's been hamstrung a little bit since he's been at the club, and I'd like to see him have a stable partnership eventually. Whether that happens or not within the next few months, I'm not sure. But I like him. I just feel a bit sorry for him, especially at £40 million.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some substance in that comment on the screen. Fancy the Kilman buy was squarely on Lopetegui's as usual.
Oh yeah,
and it possibly was, but it could have been the best thing he ever did for this club. If, like as you say, Luke, if he gets that stable partner, and I think and I hope Todibo is the one to do it, because I think that Todibo is a much stronger defender than Mavropanos. Much stronger in every department.
Yeah, I tell you what, I could go back to, and like I said, pairings are crucial, right? I don't think the pairing with Kilman and Mavropanos has been that good. But like I said at the beginning, I do believe Kilman's a top player. I mean, and maybe we do get caught up too much on how much we pay for players, because I thought 40 million was well over the top. But I reckon if it's Todibo and he becomes the player we expect him to become, and what you said, Duke, what your question was, that could he make him that 40? I think it could make him more than that. I really do, because this is what we expect from Potter, to make everyone better. We already see it in 45 minutes with Somerville. when he played him out on the right there. We already seen him make him better. I went, fucking hell. I would have put him out there myself, but fucking I don't get paid the big bucks, do I? And I expect him to make everyone better. And when you see a game like Fulham where everybody out there was putting their all in, that tells you this boy's got them going. You know what I mean? He's got them believing a bit more. He's got them working for him. I think it's fantastic. And I think you're right, Joe. He could be that. He could be a £60 million player. And I'll tell you another one we're wasting, I think, is Aged. Aged, under that system at Moyes, I think he suffered fucking tragically. And he was a very unlucky centre-half. Every time he made a mistake, they fucking scored from it. Yeah. So it made him look shit. And apparently, where is he at? Was he out in Europe? Apparently, he's fucking smashing it.
Yeah.
So... the manager is important, Duke, and you've made a great point there. I think he could come good, but I do believe when you talk about centre half, there's got to be a pairing. You can't have just one good centre half; it doesn't work. You need both to be in sync. And there you are.
Just break from West Ham for a moment. Crocodile and Shark Watch, or as Howard asked, Beaver Watch.
There was no. After we had the 2 deaths by shark attack over Christmas, there's been nothing since, which is not surprising. But I did see a funny one on the news yesterday. This father and son were out in the Moreton Bay here, just out west of me here, or east of me, and they fucking were fishing there, dragging in this fish, and a fucking dolphin came flying up in the air and landed in their boat. They couldn't get the fucker out because it's about 150 kilo. Right, so I had to call the SeaWorld in to come put this dolphin on a stretcher and stick him in the water and see if he was all right. And he swam off. There you go. Just a little local story.
Is not a normal place. It's not.
No. It's another dimension.
It was funny watching the film of this dolphin in the back of his boat. I go, what the fuck?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Whereabouts actually are you, Cieran, in Australia?
I'm in Brisbane, right? Which is mid east coast, right? So to the east of me here is the Gold Coast and Moreton Bay, and North Stradbroke, South Stradbroke Island is all there. So yeah, our shark attacks are very limited up here, and normally down south in Sydney, or especially South Australia, because South Australia is where the great whites like to accompany. As I say, I tell Budgie last week, we had one up north, which was unusual. We had a reef shark attack a spearfisher and done him in the neck, and he bled out and he died. And the geezer, who's a surfer down in South Australia, he got attacked. They saw him from the beach getting attacked by this great white, and they've never found him. Never found him. They found his surfboard. No. That was handy. At least they can sell that. But
yeah, the surfboard ain't digestible.
Jesus Christ. Wish I hadn't asked.
At what point normally, right? If I'm told, right, that in that box in front of me with a hole in it is filled with scorpions, don't put your hand in it. I'm not going to stick my fucking hand in a box of scorpions. If you've got great white sharks in the seas around, don't go in. Don't go in. So especially don't go in a surfboard where you're going to look like a fucking like you're going to look like they're real, right? Just don't do it.
Duke, that ain't the worst of it. They got saltwater crocodiles as well.
Oh, put their front legs up, make them look like they're drowning. People think they're humans. The humans jump in, and the crocodile goes, "Lunch, thanks very much." Absolutely not. There's a reason I'm never going to Australia. Never.
I went over in 2007 for a week, and I didn't see anything. I was quite bored over there, given for that capacity, right? But you say that, Duke, about the school. Just on a quick note, you say that about the scorpions, Duke. Where if it's a danger, don't put your hand there. I go through the same pep talk to myself when I'm renewing my season ticket at the end of the season. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know what's going to happen. You're going to get pissed off all season.
I'll tell you too. On that I'm saying, there's a guy here, right?
No,
based in Sydney, right? You know Bondi Beach, right? It's one of the most, famous beaches in the world. Everyone goes there. All the backpack, everyone from the UK goes to Bondi Beach in Sydney, right? And this he's a drone flyer, and all he does is flies the drone over the waters there at Bondi Beach, and he's 50 meters out from the beach where all the people are swimming, and he shows you from the drone. He sees these fucking tiger sharks, right, swimming around the fucking swimmers out there, and it's frightening as fuck. And they don't even know the shark's there, but he does because he can see it. Right? It's scary as fuck.
Can he not put a little sign on the drone that he can just put a little tag?
Well, that may come one day. Look, I reckon that will be a warning system at some stage. There'll be flying drones, and some people will go, "Get the fuck out of the water." There's 2 tigers, and you see these guys. I'm not joking. You see these tigers circling the swimmers, but mostly tigers aren't that aggressive with humans, right? It's great whites you got to worry about.
But they're taking chances, don't they? To be honest, no. They're the size of your spiders. They're no. They're bigger than Phil Parks' hands, mate.
Wait, listen. Everything that either walks, crawls, swims, or fucking flies in Australia wants to kill you, including the indigenous people, right? I'm telling you. They'll eat you alive. No, I'm joking. To any Aboriginal people, indigenous people, I am joking. But
you're a brave man to make here.
Everything wants to kill you. I mean, ask Cieran about the fucking magpies, Joe.
Yeah.
What Newcastle?
There seems like there's a story here, Cieran.
No, just like we have a magpie season here, right? When the magpies are nesting, whatever, and they normally put their nest in a tree. If you fucking walk past that tree, you're getting it. They come down and attack you, right? And they go for your fucking eyes. You're not allowed to walk past their nest. And there's video upon video upon video of these people walking past and getting attacked in Australia. Especially the cyclists, they love them fuckers on the push bike, right? And their helmets they wear, put all the zip ties in it, so up there. So when the magpie comes, it hits the zip ties and goes away, stops them getting at their face. They love an attack them.
I'd rather take my chances walking around Lewisham and Bermondsey wearing my than taking a trip to Australia. I can't even lie to you. Absolutely.
Hey, listen, walking around your area, Joe, with one of these shirts on is easy compared to that. It's fucking easy, mate. I've done it a number of times.
They used to be. I've been here 3 years. They're used to my bullshit now, to be fair.
Yeah, mate.
They're used to me walking around doing this stuff. Absolutely not.
I mean, the magpies are bad, right? But you got to be clever here. I've got 2 magpies that hang around here, right? And every time I go in the garden, I say hello to them, right? Because the scientists have told us they can recognise up to 50 faces. And if you're nice to them, they'll leave you alone. And I feed them now and again, throw a couple of bits out from them. So I've got no problems, But the other bird that likes to attack you is the plover, right? Now, I've been attacked by plovers about 4 times since I've been here. And they've got big spurs in their wings, right? In their wings. And they come down with their wings and they try and hit you with a wing with a spur, and it will rip your fucking eye out. It will take... I got attacked 4 times in different eras of plovers. They're fucking deadly.
Leave. Save yourself. They sound like mini pterodactyls, these fucking... Why?
Honestly.
Honestly,
you stand more chance against the moped thieves in London. Absolutely.
Apart from that, not a problem.
It's a living zoo, Australia. It is a living zoo. You chuck you in, they lock you in, that's it, done. Good luck.
Luke Legend reckons you're Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah, I do. I do like to talk to the animals here, mate. Hopefully they'll leave me alone.
Can we please? I'm scared.
There's only one magpie. There's only one magpie I want to see. Hang on, where the hell was it?
I know where he's going with this. I've seen it already.
Yeah.
Usual. There it is.
Yeah. That's the only magpie I ever want to see.
Used to be a good show, didn't it?
I want to see him in one of these, though. Eh?
There used to be a show back home, Magpie.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was similar to Blue Peter, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it?
Oh, the
It was
ages are coming
it
out
was
now, Luke.
ITV's version of it.
Okay.
It had I can't even remember who was on there. I think David Kid Jensen was on it at one time.
I remember. It might be.
Yeah.
Me and Luke are sitting here like, what the fuck?
My limited
Yeah,
memory.
mate. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I bet you don't even remember what Blue Peter was, do you?
No, I don't know. No, I'm not. I'm not.
All right. Okay.
I know the old Blue Peter badge and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, Magpie was a similar thing, but it was just not as good. Not as good.
Not as iconic. Didn't have the legacy.
No. It's like Blake Seven never got the recognition that Doctor Who did, or the longevity.
Blake Seven.
Yeah. No,
Blake Seven. Wow, that's brand new, isn't it? This is proper old school.
I've never heard that one before.
All right, not
we're not old bastards. That's why.
I feel old. I'm almost mid-30s now, and it's.
Oh, shut up! We are your bloody self.
Can't help you, mate. I work with a young guy, and you mention anything to him, and he's come from another world. It's just like I have no idea what that is, and it could be something even the most recent thing from like 10 years ago, and you just feel your age. I don't know if anyone else feels like me, but when I turned 30, it was like a switch went off in my body, and everything aches that didn't ache before, and it's just
make noises when you get up out the chair.
There you go. Thank you, Steve.
It doesn't hurt anymore like I used to, and I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I feel like I'm, it's when West Ham are shit, it's twice as shit, and I don't know if it's just a grumpy old, switch that goes off in your head. So, you could take it on the chin 10 years ago. Now it's like the worst thing in the world. Season tickets going in the bin. Everything goes.
Your whole weekend's ruined, and yeah.
It's one of
There's been a lot of ruined weekends actually in the last.
Just out of interest, actually, talk about West Ham. I was going to ask this question, but I'm going to go soon. So I've got to be up early in the morning. So it's been my last one before I go. But we live in an era, right, where let's not get too deep, but individualism in football is practically a thing of the past, right? So it's all about the team play, the tiki taka, the some people find it boring, some people find it really interesting, and it's a tactical haven now where everything can be analysed to a tenth of a thousandth. The West Ham way would probably, from what I've been told by West Ham way is you play attacking football, fast, passing fast, all the rest of it, passing fast football, and I people don't realise what the the people that aren't West Ham fans don't realise what the West Ham way is. But if we could get a team that plays anywhere near the West Ham way ish kind of vibe, or a modern version of it, I think this era would kind of suit it in a way. I think just with the past and ebb and flow. Maybe I'm talking out the arse, I know, but all I've ever heard, because I supported West Ham a year before we got relegated. I think I was about 10 years old. I started getting the West Ham, and we finished 7th. I think.
Which time?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I tell you what, the thing was, what I class as a West Ham the way we grew up with. 1 week was shit, 1 week was good. Right, that was part of the West Ham way. But what also in the team setup, you had your crunchers and you had your fucking midfield maestros. Like if you say Devonshire and Brooking, and then you had Billy Bonds and Julian Dix or Ray Stewart. You had both. You had that fucking physical side of the game and the technical side of the game. And I thought that's what West Ham, that's what I grew up with and I enjoyed. Right. But it was never, ever consistent. That's the problem. We never had that. I went away all over the country in the 70s, right? And early 80s. All over. And very rarely did I see an away win, right? So, but I still went. But there was that way of having Billy Bonds and having a Ray Stewart or having a Julian Dix who came later, obviously, but and Pike in the midfield. But you had Devonshire and Brook in then. You had Bishop or then NIU. We developed. We had a mixture, and I think that's how it was.
Yeah.
Now, Alvarez almost, he's in that mould. He might be in the wrong era, Alvarez, right? But even he had a bloody good game the other night.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, we were very lucky that we had like Trevor Brooking for a very long time. Actually, I can't even remember how long his West Ham career was.
His whole career, basically. That was it.
Yeah, one team man, and we were very lucky that even as he aged, his game matured, and he became really fluid with his football. Whereas before there was some erratic nature about him when he was younger, when he first broke into the team. There was a certain amount of erratic nature, but not very much. No. Again, like Bobby Moore, he had a footballing brain, and he used it from the moment he stepped onto the pitch to the moment he retired. And we were really, really lucky to have him and players.
Brooking was one of them guys. Brooking wasn't that quick, but he made players against him look slow.
Yeah,
it was amazing. His technique of letting the ball run past him, and the guy was just sold. He was so good at it. I don't know how he did it on a pitch that was a mud heap.
Well, sorry.
Evening, Mama. Sorry, go on.
He was my man's favourite player because he said the one thing he liked most about him was that he'd play on these turgid, muddy pitches where the ball would bounce if you let it bounce while you're dribbling with it. He would gracefully sort of float through float through the mud in a way that you just you're almost
it's unbelievable.
Intoxicated.
He skipped right. The old man's right. He skipped through the fucking mud as if he weren't there. I just don't know how he did it. You know what I mean? Because with the mud, it just holds the ball up. You can't fucking get a good touch on it. It just stops, starts. But he seemed to glide with it. You still wonder how the fuck. And he weren't the only one. We had the likes of George Best doing that. And they were amazing players in the conditions they were playing. You mean fuck?
I saw a video on Twitter the other day. It was a bit of a throwback where they were looking back. There was a video of who played for Real Madrid. Was it Di Stefano? It was but you could tell that he was levels above the players that he was playing against. Like his first touch, the way he was moving it, it was you could tell that's why he was considered that good at that level at that time, because just the way that they moved with the ball it looked quite modern. It looked like if you chucked him in a game nowadays, it'd fit right in. There'd be no doubt.
That comes down to what I was saying. You take players like that, Di Stefano, George Best, Eusebio. I can't believe I'm going to put these guys in there, but Trevor Brook and Alan Devonshire, players that played on those type of pitches. The common thing is people like to argue, could they play in today's game? It wouldn't even be about playing in today's game. Put them on the pitches that we have today, the carpets that they play on, and watch someone like Trevor Brook and Alan Devonshire. Watch these guys. Listen, if you think that in today's game, players like Ronaldo and Messi are special, you take someone like Trevor Brooking and those guys and put them on pitches today, they'd blow both of those names out the water. They wouldn't. Messi, and I'll probably get a lot of stick for this, but Messi and Ronaldo wouldn't be able to touch players like George Best, Eusebio. Even to a degree, Trevor Brooking and Alan Devonshire on the pitches we have today, it'll be a whole different kettle of fish for them players.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'd spin it the other way, Duke, as well. If you took Messi back to them pitches, would he be that good?
No,
I don't think he could, because his whole thing is dribbling, turning. He twists people inside out, and then he's brilliant. He's brilliant. But on a muddy pitch, could he do the skill that he's got? I don't think he could.
You got, you mentioned like George Best and players like that, but there are certain other players that I remember being
loads of them.
Absolutely, yeah. What was the lad's name? Michael. No, not Michael Hughes. Oh God.
Take time, Budge. We've got all that.
Yeah, it might have been Michael Hughes actually, but
National.
he was playing on them. Yeah, I'm sure it was Michael Hughes. There was a time he was playing and he went over on his ankle, and like everybody feared the worst, you know. He got up, fucking had it all strapped up, got up, carried on, played the entire game. I'm sure it was Michael Hughes. But anyway, players back then not only had to deal with pitches like that, but they sustained injuries because of it and played through them. Played through the injuries. Lots and lots of players did.
Well, you had to when go back to the days of no subs to one sub to two subs. People had to play through injuries. But I wouldn't go and say like them players are better. The players now are athletes. The players now are far fitter. They're far quicker. It's far harder, mate. I'll tell you, you know what I mean? It's very hard to compare because these guys are athletes. I mean, they went out for pie mash and a few beers after a fucking game back then, you know? It was, you know, a lot of the players were smoking back then. You know, these guys are athletes as fuck. They've got the best conditions and the best training. You know, they've got everything. So it's hard to compare, you know, because everything's changed. You know, Wenger was a part of that, wasn't he? He sort of brought that philosophy into the UK. And you go, wanker. Why did you? It was better back then.
They still mind about playing too many games, though, don't they? No matter how fit they are, they're always playing. You know, too much.
I'd like to think that if you had Trevor Brooking and let's say Messi in the same era of football, playing on the same pitches, I think if Messi had grown up having to play on the same kind of pitches that Brooking did, or vice versa, I think you would have had two very similar players. If I'm honest,
I think Messi's a bit exceptional.
He
would have adjusted if he was playing on them pitches and brought up on them. I'm sure he would have adjusted to it. Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah,
they were saying the Tottenham game at the weekend against who were they playing? Can't remember
wasn't it?
Yeah. They got a 3G pitch, haven't they? And they were saying that they thought the Spurs, the Spurs players they were worried about they were going to struggle with it to adapt to it at the thing. And to be fair, they probably did because it was 0-0 until extra time. So maybe they But you mentioned Messi and Ronaldo there. I know they're elite level. Don't get me wrong. I follow Ronaldo on Instagram now, and he's still jumping into ice baths at the age of 40 or whatever he is now.
Unbelievable.
There was one thing I think when Fergie brought him over to England, when Paqueta goes down at every chance to get a free kick. We see him play him, right? And he started doing it, I think, when he was first come to United, and I don't know how true it is, but basically Ferguson said if you want to survive in this league, you've got to learn to take a kick because you're getting kicked up in the air by all the Premier League defenders. And basically he said it made him like he wouldn't be the player he is today if he hadn't had to adapt to what the Premier League was doing to him, because he said it basically he was getting his shins were smashed to pieces when he first came to England, and he had to adapt. He's always tried to have to adapt, and it's like I'm not saying they would have been able to adapt to the money pitches, but if you're putting generational players at that point, maybe they would have. Maybe they wouldn't be as clean cut as they were in their careers, and they maybe wouldn't have scored as many goals, and they'd maybe have more injuries than they would have had. But I just think it's interesting because you do get that sort of. It's funny because I spoke to someone a few years ago who said they played on Putnam Road pitch, the Ipswich pitch. I think it was like early 2000, 2003, and they played on a professional pitch. I think it was like a cup game or something like that. It was like it wasn't professional level, but they were playing in a cup game. Yeah. And they said that it is like carpet. But they said the pitch they played on, you almost sank into it. So it was like almost like when you were running with the ball, you had to lift your legs up almost, or lift your feet up to I don't know if what time of the season they were playing. It wasn't like it was like a stable pitch. It was like it was so soft and so comfortable.
Spongy.
Yeah, it was spongy. It was like it was almost basically like it knackered you out running because you had to pick your feet up, sort of thing. It
does make a massive difference. When I first come to Australia, Luke, and started playing on the pitches here, fucking me, man. What a fucking difference that was. The environment as well. You know, we were pre-season, but we're training nights and playing pre-season games at night. It's not a problem. Our first, home game, the first game of the season at home on this pitch, and at half time I'm under the shower, right, just dying because it was about 28 degrees playing football. And the pitch, it bounced up. It rock hard. The pitch is rock hard. Makes a massive difference to everything. Your passes go further, longer. You know, you got to adjust to the pitch conditions. And it bounced higher. It bounced, and you go, this is different to the UK. Like, I'm nice, soft, grass, which I prefer much more enjoyable. And it was like playing on concrete.
Unless it's frozen, like with a morning frost or something. God, that's horrible. Playing on a morning frost.
Never slide on that. Christ almighty.
Oh.
Especially a ball in the inside of the pie or the nuts. You know that then, don't you?
It's like when they water the pitches now. They water the pitch for a game, and you can tell they've watered it really well. But because none of the, you find some players they'll slip about 4 or 5 times, like every time they're trying to make a tackle or stop themselves on the run. I know obviously it's not everyone suffers the same fate, but it does. I don't know how much difference that makes to the way they play. I know it's obviously pitches have to be watered nowadays to a certain level, but obviously there's it does. I just find it interesting the levels that it goes to with players of certain generations and the way the game changes and stuff. And I think it was West Ham classically done. I know it's not doing with a pitch, but that's kind of what I miss about West Ham. West Ham's different in that way. You know, when we played Stoke and Rory Delap was doing his long throws, and all we'd done was put the advertising boards closer to the sideline, so you could nullified the only tactic they had. And I'm just, you see some games now where you think I think we've done it a few seasons ago. We watered the pitch really like a lot to try and hinder one of the teams we were playing who like to play certain football. Eventually, it sort of worked against us. But no, it's just an interesting thing. You look back and you look forward now, and
I remember back then the day, look, a lot of the pitches were different sizes.
Yeah.
There was a maximum and a minimum that could be, and that affects teams. You know what I mean? Especially with an expansive football playing team, you prefer probably the big pitch than the narrow pitch. Because when I played at Surfers here, we were playing the top team on the Gold Coast. He actually got the groundsman right to fucking narrow the pitch by the minimum on the day to stop them playing their expensive football.
Did exactly the same thing at Upton Park when we come up against. I think it was Man U back in the 90s, late 90s, probably early 2000s, because as you say, you had minimum and maximum width and length on the rulings, and we did exactly that. I think we shrunk the pitch by about a foot and a half across, like just to make it harder for them, because they obviously used to like to switch play, and we did that. It was as you say, look, it was like shithousing your way through a game, wasn't it? It really was.
Wasn't it Leicester a few years ago? They had one of the best groundsmen in the country. Was voted the best groundsman in the country, and they were playing Arsenal, and they decided to leave the grass a centimetre taller than they would normally have done it, so that Arsenal couldn't play their passing game as the tactics one. I don't know if it worked. I don't know if it worked.
The dark arts, look, the dark arts. There's nothing wrong with it, mate.
Right. That was. I know. Obviously, we've recently had the. If anyone hasn't seen it, I've yet to finish it, but it was quite interesting. The Bilic interview with Russ and Anton and all that. He was saying that one of the things they struggled with the move to a new stadium was the fact that the pitch was so much bigger than Upton Park in comparison. And it was like he compared it to as if you were playing at Wembley every week, like an FA Cup final at Wembley, because it was like that was the difference between the whole, the way the stand looks, the way the whole structure, the pitch. Because obviously at the time as well, we had the tarpaulin, didn't we? And it was like there were some players that were saying they thought the tarpaulin was part of the green, so they were playing passes and not realising it was actually going out for a throw in. They just thought they were playing their own ball.
That's why we ended up with a carpet.
No, I presume that the pitches are standard size now, but I don't know what the rules are now. But I presume they're all the same. But I don't know for sure.
There was one. I think they said it was either Luton or Bournemouth. One of them, they said to him like, "You either your stadium or your pitch isn't quite big enough to match Premier League standard pitches." I think one of them either told them, right, well, that's our pitch, we're coming to the Premier League, deal with it, or not, we're not changing, or they done something to the pitch.
It was the ground. They built a stand, I think, in about 4 months. It was absolutely ridiculous. But they redeveloped one stand. Not the side where obviously you have to go through people's fucking back gardens to get into the ground. It was the main stand, and I think they did it in about 4 months. They had the whole thing reset, ready to go in the Premier League within 4 months. It was absolutely insane. You watch a time lapse photo of it going up. It was absolutely ridiculous. They did like end of season, start of season. Bosh. There's a new stand, and because they had to fit certain safety criteria for the Premier League. Yeah, it was.
I used to love being in a chicken run in the late 70s. There, when you're in a chicken run there, that line to the wall, I'd say, was 2 meters. So anyone who was taking a throw would even come back to the wall and sometimes lean on it to take the throw. And I remember Tottenham being there, and Justin Edinburgh leant back on that wall, and I was right there. And I fucking got in his ear. I said, "You big nose cunt." Right? He nearly dropped the fucking ball. And then, what the fuck?
And then it worked.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question, guys. I want to ask you a question. Somebody put this to me, right? We were talking about, minimum and maximum sizes of pitches and stuff. And I was talking to a guy the other day over at the pub, and he's an American guy. And he said to me, I was moaning about VAR and stuff. And he said to me, wouldn't it just be easier if you had painted lines across the pitch like they do in American football? And I went, that might help to some degree, depending on what the spacing of them would be.
Yeah.
And it would completely change the way the pitch looks. So I'm not so sure that it would be very popular. How would you guys feel about that?
Can I answer this? Because I've got to go in a second. I've got my player leaving in the morning. Stay on too long as it is, but I've enjoyed this. I do get where they're coming from. But for me, see, I'm personally a fan of VAR. I'm just not a fan of how VAR is being used. That's the difference. I think it could be an incredible tool, but they're for whatever reason they're either just being over the top with it, too thick, or there is just simply corruption, and they just don't want to give certain things, the inconsistencies and stuff. But there's a lot of people think that the offside should be, you if you're in any sort of contact with a defender, you're onside or something like that. I think the way the offside works at the minute is fine. It's just for some reason in the Champions League it seems to. This is the problem with the Premier League. It's too slow. In the Champions League, it happens twice as quick as it does in the Premier League. They look at automated offsides, done, boom, over.
That's coming, Luke, isn't it? That's coming.
Well, hopefully, but they need to hurry up because it's the most.
It's the 3D they use, isn't it? They use the 3D.
Right. Yeah.
Euro.
And then the thing that annoys me is the fact that, and I don't know if this is a rumor or how true this is, but when we were bringing in VAR the first time round, rugby and tennis or cricket as well, I think both they all said we'll help you out. We'll will give football as much advice as we can give, because the technology we use is practically flawless. Like we've no problem with it at all. It's
very good.
Seamlessly into the game. And we apparently said, no, we're football. We don't need, those sports are beneath us. We don't need those sort of advice. And then we struggle with it straight away. And because they want to do it their own way, and there's so many inconsistencies with it is the thing. But maybe the pitch lines would be helpful. We don't know. We haven't used it. It could be the best thing ever happened to the game. It could be the worst thing. It could be a complete neutral. Might not make any difference at all. But for me, I think that you mentioned drones earlier. I know, obviously, a different subject. But if we have the technology to make this technology we're using flawless, in my opinion, I think we're doing lines with a guy on Paint on PC Microsoft is like almost to me is just the most primary school way of trying to figure it. Like all the money, the billions of pounds are spending on whatever, and that's the best way you can come up with. If he's onside or onside is ridiculous to me. So if it works, if things like yes, okay, it could be unconventional. Yes, people say, oh, it's not traditional. It makes the pitch look crap, whatever. But if it works, I think I'd be up for anything. I want to get decisions correct. Right, that's just how I am. I know people say that it takes too long. For me, I kind of enjoy the drama. I know it sounds a bit pathetic, but when you're sitting there and okay, it takes too long. If it's a bit boring, I'll hurry up. But there is a little bit of what's going to happen here? Is he going to give it a decision or not? Because we've had some decisions. I remember when it first came in during COVID, we got a penalty at Man United. Pogba put his arm up and hit the heart. I've never known West Ham to get a penalty at Man United. I was like this is amazing. This wouldn't happen without VAR.
Crazy.
So there are certain perks to it, and I think we have had our own fair share of luck with it, and then unluck with it, so it goes both ways. But where lines are concerned, if it works, it works. It might take a bit of getting used to, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But for me, I'm up for anything that works, and that's the way I think it should be. Anyway, lads, I'm going to love you and leave you. Everyone in the chat.
Thanks for joining us, mate. Much appreciated.
Great to be in. Been
All
a while.
Let's
hope we go on and beat Palace on Saturday. So
yes,
come on your lines. See you later, boys. See you later, people. Chat.
Cheers, mate.
Take it easy, buddy. Have a good one.
Take care, mate. See you later, Luke. And then there were three.
Oh, I can see you again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, joke. Didn't see you before.
My fat head takes up after the sense that we're doing well.
I like that top you got on there, Jokey. I do like that top. I like that.
I've got the special edition one that they released midway through the year last year. They released them in a pure white, so the badge, the badge and everything. It's an all white shirt, and then they released one that was just a pure black shirt. So the badge, the logo, everything is just a black shirt. But you've got the
nice.
Dr. Martens, you've got the badge, and they're lovely shirts. I wanted the white one, but I thought there's just absolutely no way it's staying white. I can see me going to a game, getting a burger or something, take a big old lump out of burger
straight down the front of it.
That'd just be me. It's just exactly how it'll work.
It's me too. I'd do exactly the same. Yes, so where are we at the moment? An hour and 23, 260 people watching, and I hope every one of you have hit the like button. It'd be very nice.
Fucking damn it. Damn them fuckers never hit the like button. What's the matter with them?
Yeah, look, GP's going to get himself a West Ham Mankini.
Oh.
Isn't it?
I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you what. I think I might have been watching this morning. I got up, right? I got up at 5:30 and decided to watch some of the Tottenham Arsenal game. And it was Arsenal, right? Why something I noticed? Just one little thing, right? It's a ditty. The ball went out to play for a corner, right? And Declan Rice was making his way over to take it.
Yeah.
And the ball boy got the ball and stuck it in the quadrant. And the referee came over and gave it to the ball boy, saying, you can't fucking do that. That's what it looked like to me anyway. I didn't know that was a thing. But obviously it is. You can probably throw the ball to the player, but he's not allowed to place it on the pitch. That's what I'm guessing from what I saw.
He's entering the field of play then, isn't he, in a way? Although he's not entering the field of play, he's coming in to a section. So, it's probably a reference.
Mate, I'd say that's the logic behind it, Duke. You know, that you're not allowed to be, because maybe he could take a quick corner because it's there or whatever. And maybe that's the reason.
Yeah.
But, I just noticed it. I went, wow, there you go.
No,
even the ball boys at Arsenal are fucking cheats. That's what I took from it.
Have you boys heard the new nickname that the Arsenal fans are giving Rice at the minute? Have any of you seen that? They're calling him Decline Rice because he's gone so far down.
Yeah, I did hear that,
Duke. Decline Rice. It's just brilliant. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
He's probably one of their best players tonight. Be honest, in that game.
Listen. As much as I hate the fact that he left, just for selfish reasons, if the rumours are true on how he left or how he went about leaving, shall we say, take all of that away. He's still a top player. Don't get me wrong. I don't want him to win a trophy because I'd love it the fact that the only trophy he wins is with us. I mean, okay, he won the Charity Shield or Community Shield, didn't he? Which is pretty much just an oversized Weatherspoons dinner plate. But, I'd like the fact that his only trophy would be with us. But I have to say, the fact that they've turned on him already annoys the shit out of me because he is a top player. And I just don't think they do this, though, Arsenal fans, don't they?
I've hated Spurs worse than anyone in my lifetime, right? Spurs and Man United, my two teams that really hate. But lately, goes up to them fucking Arsenal supporters and that fucking manager they got. I hate Arsenal even more than Man United or Tottenham. I really do. I was hoping Tottenham would nick a fucking point at the end just to piss them off.
I was going to say, do you think perhaps that Declan Rice might not feel as welcome in the changing room as he did at West Ham? And therefore,
that was his choice.
Yeah, of course it was. But do you think that might be affecting why he's not playing at the standards we expect him to be at? Do you think maybe the fact that he's got, a bit of disharmony with his teammates?
No, but look, honestly, I think Rice was probably the best player on that pitch tonight, right? But the thing is with them Arsenal folk, we've had Rice play bad games, right? Didn't have his great game. But we knew the quality he had, and when he was good, he was fantastic. And the reason why we done so well was because of him. He has two bad games for Arsenal, and they fucking want to bin him. They want to slag him off. They're a fucked up weirdo fan base, mate. They want everything now. Everything has to be today. Fucking top.
I agree with what Nick says. Well, he says there, I generally don't give a toss about Deck. I understand where he's coming from. He's not a West Ham player. But there is also a part of me that he's come through our academy. He's gone on to bigger and better things. Listen, I think Lampard is a standout one that I actually, to a degree, dislike because of the way he went. You look at the line. Carrick, we got relegated. We got relegated after the game against Birmingham. And you've got the likes of Defoe, badly advised, however you want to go about it, already saying that he wants to leave. Then you had Carrick coming back at the start of the season, following the following season, turning around and going, look, I'll give you another year. I have to think about my own career. I've got England aspirations. I want to play at the top. So I'll stay here for a year. And if we go up, fantastic. Well, then we can talk about what happens going forward. You then he stuck around for a year. Granted, we only got £2.5 million from him when he went to the fucking Spuds, but he was a fantastic player. I love Carrick. I've made comments over on Forge where I've turned around and said I actually think he was a better player than Scholes. He's got one of getting some absolute ribbing and some arguments. But I've always loved Carrick. Always. It's not me.
What was that, Duke? I didn't hear that properly. What did you say about Carrick?
I said I absolutely always loved Carrick. Carrick for me was I've said over on Forge many times. I think he's a better player than Scholes was. He had more strings to his bow than Scholes did. Scholes couldn't tackle. Carrick could. Carrick could score goals, maybe not as many as Scholes, but he could break up play. He could put a pass on a sixpence. He was a fantastic player. And
you're right. I'd say, Duke, what I've always said about Carrick, I think he's the most underrated player we ever let go. Yeah. He was fucking brilliant at Tottenham. He was brilliant at Man United. I don't want to compare him to Scholes myself, but I just think the guy was fabulous. And like he's one of them, a bit like Rice, right, to a point where the highlight reel. When people watch highlights, they don't watch full games. Carrick wouldn't get many highlights. Neither would Rice. Arsenal fans didn't rate Rice before we sold him to him. They didn't rate him because they just watched highlights of games and wouldn't see what he actually done through a game. Carrick was the same. He was a fucking amazing player. And I think he got overshadowed, in that mob of Rio Ferdinand and Joe Cole and Defoe. He got undershadowed by all them. But I think he's one of the best players we've ever produced at the academy. I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
fabulous
completely. Daz asked a question earlier. Hang on, let me just find it. There it is. Look. Do you think we get a result on Saturday against Palace?
Ooh.
I think we do. I think we've got a little bit of momentum about us. A little bit more of the fairy dust, if you like.
Somerville would help being back, Budge. Be nice to have him back.
It would be, I've got to be honest.
Make my decision,
I've got to be honest with you. I think Somerville should be a nailed-on left wing starter. That's my honest opinion. Although he did play really well.
I don't know. I liked him on that right for some reason. I don't know how that fucking worked. He did.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why it worked. Well. It worked because it allowed. It gave. Because of his energy levels and his work rate, it allowed Wan-Bissaka to play as a right-sided centre back, Mav in the middle, Kilman out on the other side, and it gave us a better balance because we had pace at the back then in the middle. So off the back of that, it gave us a better balance through the middle. It allowed players like Alvarez to push that little bit higher up the pitch because we had the pace behind that if we did get caught slightly short, then Wan-Bissaka would come back and kind of protect that the slower two, if you want, out of Kilman and Mav with the pace. And this is one thing one of my mates always said, my mate Neil has always turned around and said the reason that Wan-Bissaka looked so bloody good at United at making last-ditch tackles and recovery tackles is because he was always out of fucking position. So he had to make those because he was at fault for being out of position. Now you've got Potter going, you know what, let's drop you into the middle. Let's give you that, you slide over a bit. It makes us... It gives us more balance. You saw it after 20 minutes. I said in my review earlier, you saw it after 20 minutes when you had, is it Bruno? Is it Stalter? Is that his name? The number 2 now.
Yeah. Bruno.
He turned around. He was in Potter's hero because Kudus wasn't tracking Robinson back. So he pushed Kudus inside with Paqueta. He put AWB higher up the pitch to combat the speedier Robinson, and then he brought Alvarez to play more of a centre back with the other two, leaving Mavropanos to take almost take on Iwobi as his marker. and we look more balanced. We go and score 2 goals in 3 minutes, roughly 15 minutes after, or 10 minutes after that change has been made. Because, again, AWB has got the pace up and down that wing, wherever you want to deploy him. But I think we look more balanced if he plays the right-sided centre-back. You bring Somerville over there because his work rate up and down the wing will offer you that. You've got Skulls on the other side, who I thought looked absolutely fantastic against Villa. Looked like he'd been in the team for 50, 60 games. You know, he looked that at home in that left wing back role. It was just, I think if you put Somerville out on that right, I agree with you here, Cieran. If you put Somerville out on that right, you see that the balance is better. Because then you allow the others to come in.
Yeah, what I liked about it, Duke, is something I would never have thought of. You know, and I think I know football, as we all do, right? We all think. My first thought was, what the fuck are you doing out there? Yeah, it works. And that's why he's not said he's paid the big bucks, and he sees something or in the team setup that this would work better. And I think it did. And it was such a shame that, you know, both of them had to be taken off, or 15 minutes for full crew, and him at half time, because I thought that was the difference. In the second half, we struggled, but you know, another 2 injuries, you can understand it. It's a shame, but really, I was sort of impressed with Potter with that. I go, okay, that's something I would never have done. You are smart, you fucker. So yeah, great, and so the future looks bright. It looks bright.
Lynn's in the chat. Hi, Lynn. She's saying there's talk that we're selling Guilherme.
Oh, no, there's talk. See, this is, you know, when you said earlier, Duke, about making players better. Now, this boy's been tagged as a great player since he was 9 years of age, right? This Guilherme, right?
Number two coming out of Brazil last year. Yeah,
right. There was 3 of them, I think. They reckoned they were the future of Brazil, and he was one of them. Now, we might have overpaid for him, as we do, but I think if you can get a tune out of him, Potter can get a tune as we go on. It doesn't mean tomorrow, but it does mean start giving him minutes and start getting the tune out of him. That's what I'm hoping to see, Duke. Like you said, making players better, like Kilman, to be a better centre half, you know, in a system. And I think we might see the Guilherme that we bought him for, which was a lot of money, but a future of Brazil. So, yeah, I'm hoping for that. Really.
Don't think we had a plan for him though. He came in. He's played one under 21 game, scored.
That was it.
And then he's played about 46 minutes, I think, in total for us.
Crazy.
This season. I think the most frustrating part is when Bowen got injured. I was really looking forward to see if he'd give Guilherme the start out on that wing. Now, he didn't. And then Somerville went over there for the game against Villa, and Potter chose Somerville to go into that position. Then when he got injured, I was kind of hoping that second half you'd see Guilherme come on, because I think in that sense it would have left the kind of balance that we had. But because he didn't and he brought on Soufal, the whole situation changed, because then we moved Wan-Bissaka out to the right wing, and then what we lost was the pace at the back. So the players progressively dropped further and further back, which would be the norm. That's just how it works when you don't have the pace. You have to sit deeper because you don't have those recovery runs that you would have if Wan-Bissaka was in the centre back role. And I think he got it wrong there, but I don't think anyone, including us right now, knows enough about Guilherme that we can definitively say either way, you know, and I think that's what frustrates me, because he hasn't got game time in the under 21s or in the first team. You know, people are saying, we from what I understand is we are encouraging bids from Saudi Arabia for Guilherme, but that's the only place he's going to go. We won't entertain loan bids from Europe or anything else. He will go to Saudi Arabia, or he doesn't go at all. That's
he goes on loan. I'd love to know what Potter's thoughts of him for it. He might just think, "Wow, this boy's nowhere near up to speed." You know, to play at this level yet. It's hard to know, guys. Whether does he think? I'd rather leave it to Potter and say no. We might as well get rid of him, or put him out on loan, or I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to use this boy. You know what I mean? He might see the talent that he's got. Obviously, he's got a lot of talent.
I get what you're saying, though, Cieran. But in the long run, we've got a whole list of players already out on loan. Who people are saying maybe we should bring Marshall back, or Potts or whatever. But the thing is, they're tied down to a season-long loan. We can't bring them back. The only person we can bring back, unfortunately, is Maxwell Cornet, because Southampton clearly don't want him. But of all
exactly true, Budge. That's not exactly true. And the reason, as I understand it, the Aguerd deal, no. So the Ward-Prowse deal, the Aguerd deal, the Cornet deal, they all involve fees to let them go. So then what you need to do is you need to then enter into discussions of brokering a deal as to what fee you'd pay back if you're going to cancel you have to enter negotiations for the agreement. The other ones, in the sense of Potts, Kajua, Marshall, Patrick Kelly, is it Levi Lang? George Earthy, Lang, Forbes, Terry and Abraham. I've got them all written up on my wall up next to me because I like to have a bit of a check on how they're doing. Now, they can be recalled on an agreement without a fee because they went without a fee because it's all about their development. So we've sent them out on loan. We've not charged for their services. They just pick up their wages and they go and they do whatever they've got. Whereas the first team players have gone out for a fee. So then we have to renegotiate a repayment of the fee for those players. So if you've paid a fee, you can't just, as Fresh said, it can't be cancelled on a whim. It can't be there has to be negotiations in the same way that with Cornet might be slightly different because they want him off the books. They want him fucking gone. So they might just go, keep the money, take him back. We don't care. But then with regards to Potts, and the rest, it's a slightly different scenario because obviously they haven't paid a fee for it, so we don't have to worry about trying to get the money back. We go right. I don't know. You have to have it in the contract that we can cancel it at any point and bring them back. But most of them just have a injury clause contract. So I think one of our keepers got a knee injury out on loan, and I think he came back because there was no point in him being there anymore. Came back to our club and our medical team.
So just on that one point of Guilherme, what Lynn said there, with Guilherme, I'd rather he decided. I'd rather trust him now, right, for this moment, because he's going to be the manager for the next 2.5 years. You decide whether this boy's good enough. You decide whether you want to sell him, or you decide to put him on loan, or you actually integrate him into the team. I'll take that. I'll trust his judgment because he has to. You have to trust his judgment. I didn't trust Lopetegui's judgment. What Lopetegui not really playing him? He might not have thought that, but what spoiled Lopetegui's judgment is he hardly played Somerville, and when he did, it was for minutes. He throws him in the first game, and he would have been man of the match if he could have stayed on the pitch. And fair play to him as well for Ollie Skulls. Just give him a run. And my God, I was so scared. Guys, I was more nervous about Ollie Skulls than anything. To make a mistake. I was shitting myself that he'd make a mistake and cost us the goal. Don't do that. This poor young lad. I thought he was superb. Another one that could have been up there for man of the match, you know? Ollie Skulls.
He was just on point, yeah.
He had a great game, man. He really done well. Fair play to him. Yeah.
Yeah, good night, GP. Thank you for joining in, mate.
GP.
Good evening, Anthony. Thank you for joining us. Now that we've spoken all the
Arsenal shit
that we're going to. Saturday GP. There was another comment here. Right. So David Moyes' twisted bollock. It used to just be his left bollock, but now it's interchangeable, I presume. I really hope the links to Anthony ain't true, but my mate who works at West Ham has said Sullivan is an admirer of him and believes it could work out for him at West Ham as it has for Kudus.
Anthony, Jesus Christ, will you stop?
I hope not.
And earlier on, somebody put, where was it? They swap Somerville for Anthony.
No.
Not a chance.
Somerville's better.
A chance. Somerville is a West Ham player and he's going to stay a West Ham player for the foreseeable future.
Right, gentlemen, I have got to shoot off. I've got to go lock up with the guys downstairs. So I've got
no problem.
Off.
Well, we're going to wrap up. We're going to wrap up as well because we've been on for nearly 2 hours. But Duke, thank you so much for popping in, mate. It's always a pleasure
for having me, mate.
Not a problem. Nice to see you.
Take it easy, guys.
All right, Duke, take care, mate. I'll be up to see you in the pub soon, mate.
Yeah, we'll have a beer.
We will. Take care.
Take it easy.
All right, mate,
take me another while, Duke.
Yeah, another little while. All right, well, look, we'll start wrapping things up. We'll start saying thank you to people.
Yeah, same here. It was hard to interact with the chat tonight, Jesus. Because of having the two guests.
It's all right. We were chatting amongst ourselves. I was getting some of the comments on the screen, so it was nice. But next week, nothing planned as yet, but I am trying to get another ex-player to come on. All right. And then there will be, if I can, there will be, obviously a lot more interaction with the chat. But for this week, I hope you guys enjoyed the chat with Duke and Luke. Sounds like Duke's of Adja, doesn't it? Duke and Luke, Duke.
Yeah, Duke and Lukey. Dukey Lukey. But yeah, Gazer, at least sorry, did you help? I missed most of it because it was flying through and we were talking.
Yeah.
But it was, look, I was on such a cloud under Lopetegui, Gazer. I just fucking, it was dreadful. But at least Potter, regardless of how he does from now to the end of the season, Gazer, it's a lift, isn't it? It's been a lift. It's been a lift for the fan base. I think it's been a lift for all the West Ham channels. It's been a lift for the team. And I saw that in that game, didn't you? You saw the efforts levels of all the players in that game, man.
You did.
That's a great place to start, bloke. Regardless of what quality you got in the team and how you're playing. If you can get that effort level in a team, man, I think Potter's already had a win. You know what I mean? He's already done well.
Yeah.
And just hope he keeps it going, man. I think Palace is a toughie again. It's another tough game down at Palace.
But he knows how to play against them. He knows how to play. He knows how to play against them. He made Brighton a real tough game for Palace when he was at Brighton. So he knows how to play. Helen's asking, did anyone see Repka in the fan zone? Yes, Sean.
No.
Repka was in the fan zone, as was leaked by Ruff. And I can now confirm that Thomas Repka will be doing his Hammers 11 with Russ on the channel at some point in the very near future. So, yeah. Mark saying, good night, Budge, Geezer, and all the great chatters. Good night, everyone. Damien, good evening, Damien. Sorry we're off on our ways, mate. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate the comments. Roberto Scarlett. Ollie Skulls. Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Got you.
Right. Got it.
We are last on Match of the Day tonight. Well, I'm not surprised. And because it's BBC Run, I never watch it. So,
you know, I asked, I said that question out earlier, but when was the last time we scored 3 goals? What did we lose to Newcastle that time up there? Did we lose 4-3 or was it 3-2? That's the one that's in my head. I'm going, did we lose that 4-3 or 3-2? I think it was 4-3. But I can't remember the last time we scored fucking 3 goals. If anyone there can tell me, that'd be great. Yeah.
No, Randy, I wasn't falling asleep earlier, mate. I did actually see a couple of comments about that. I was just listening to what was being said and trying to concentrate on getting some comments up as well. Good night, Colin. Thank you very much for your comments.
You better sort out that fucking layup you got here, guys. I can see half the fucking question or the chat, the answer, whatever you want to call it.
What's on that? Sorry, mate. I might have took it off a bit quick for you. Did you read that one then? Yeah.
No, I'm just saying it cuts off, guys. The thing, the long chats, like you can't see.
Right.
Never watch the BBC. Never do I don't watch any terrestrial television anymore.
Thank you, Steve. We scored 4 against Ipswich this season.
Oh, right, yeah, we did, guys. We did.
Well done, Steve. Well done, mate.
We did, yeah. Well done, Steve. We did score that.
Do you know anything, Mickey? Mickey, I'm assuming you're asking someone in the chat called Mickey, or do we know anything about Mickey? All I know is that he's not in hospital any longer. He's at home resting and recovering. He's in contact with the group, with the team, as far as I'm aware. And he's alive and well. That's all I can tell you at the moment, Dad.
I'm pretty sure you will never see him in a West Ham shirt again. I'm pretty sure of that.
Unless, of course, they give him a farewell hurrah. Ipswich, we scored 4. Jennifer Harris, thank you.
Thanks for that. I couldn't remember that guy. She's so rare now, isn't it? Scoring 3 goals.
Yeah. Good night from Dubrovnik.
Oh, you out there, Spreshy? I knew you were going out there. You're in Dubrovnik. Good for you, shit.
Wow. Is that my dog bark?
Yeah.
I don't fucking want to be. Giving the nuts a little sod.
Yeah, Dubrovnik, out in Belgium.
Kieran, do you see many snakes where you live?
No, I don't, luckily enough. I don't. They're not far away, though. When I go out to my mate's property, mate, there's plenty out there. But where we are in this little suburb, no. We're pretty lucky with that. I was watching a fucking snake thing the other day, guys, and do you know when they talk about the rattlesnake in America. It's been, it's used in so many films and all that. But the local snake we got here is the eastern brown, and it's something like its venom is 100 times more potent than a rattlesnake's venom. You go, fuck it. I've come across a few of them in my time, eastern browns. They're fucking deadly, guys. And they're the ones most likely to bite you because they're quite aggressive. Most snakes in this country, even the taipan's even worse, but they fuck off. They don't want anything to do with you, they're not aggressive. They just want to get away from you. But the eastern brown's one of them that will flare up and come at you. And I've come across quite a few of them when I was working out west. And he goes, fuck it. You don't want to get anywhere near the bastard, mate. But he does. He rises his head, mate, and he wants to fucking come at you.
Have a look at Usual's comment there. The only snakes, basically, what he's saying, and just Tottenham supporters.
Does they all call what?
Yeah.
Talking about?
But he said, like, when do you get many snakes? And usually saying, well, Cieran does. They're called Tottenham supporters.
Fuck yeah. I've only met one of them out here, okay, Usual. In all the years I've been here, I've only met one fucking Tottenham supporter. Nice guy, actually, but...
Oh, I am getting bloody tired.
He's an Australian.
Oh,
he's an Australian fucking Tottenham supporter.
So, Daz is asking, how far do we think we can get this season? He thinks top 7. I would say top 10.
I think that's... Yeah.
I would say top 10.
I think top 7's optimistic. But who don't know? We could sign a couple of players in the next week or so.
Yeah,
and
top 8,
and we could make a push.
Achievable. Top 8
I think top 10.
Top 10.
Around 10th is more realistic.
Yeah.
The 8th spot could be that European. That would be an amazing achievement from Potter. Yeah. But realistically, I think about 10th. I mean, look, we sort of knew we wasted the season when we, after the reign of Lopetegui, we left it too long for me to get rid of him.
Yeah,
probably should have done it before Christmas. I think that might give us a bit more hope. Even though, the few games we picked up points there. So
that is my dog. That is my dog barking. He needs to go out. So I'm going to have to go, guys. Thank you for joining me, Cieran. As always, pleasure. And I will chat to you very soon. Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. And for everybody that is viewing after the event, please leave your comments. Thank you very much. Oh, and also, thanks to Simon, Wolfgang Division, for becoming a member. Brilliant.
Well,
take care, everybody. Yeah, take care, everyone.
See you next week, guys.
Come on, you irons.
Bye-bye.